Hello YouTube, this is Killing Spree 01 here with another quick video review. This is how to make a airsoft grenade launcher from scratch using steel parts, bending, tapping, cutting, drilling, welding, everything. This is for a more advanced than just something like this is one I made when I was 8 out of wood, scotch tape, and just some finishing nails and a screw. Pretty much it's this same basic mechanism. This is the pin that pushes the back of it. This is my trigger. Pivots like this one does on a central piece. I do need to shave the top of that trigger off about to where my thumb is. That way it has nice clearance on the top of the box right here. As you can see, with it in as far as it's going to go without compromising anything, it is just shy of the roof. Now, this part, I'm just going to rest that right there so it doesn't frolic around. This is going to be attached like so. And this pivots and pushes that back and forth, which also in return does like this model. There would be a plate on top of this, but instead it's just a rectangle with a hole opener, and this works when you've got the top on it, but I just took it off for reference. That moves forward, pivots on that finishing nail down below. Comes out, pushes the back. You don't have to pull it all the way. This one is not spring tensioned like my metal one that I'm making, so when you pull the trigger it stays back and you have to push it back or back forward. And these are just some tabs that I cut out of, I think it's 1/8 or 1/16 inch steel. These tabs will be tack welded to the inside right there, like so, one on either side, one over here, one over there. And then these screws screw into that tapped hole right there. So the outside, I eyeballed that hole. I think I did pretty good. Cut that out with a Dremel. Once I get that painted up and filed, that'll look a lot nicer. This drill bit is not for drilling. My dad got this for me just so I can break it off and use it as a pivot pin. I can show you where this pivots. Let me set this down. Sorry, just a sec. And there's how that would work. This will be spring tensioned. I did make my own sparkly trigger and everything. The trigger will not be painted just due to how cool it looks. Now, this is the first legit thing I've ever really made that's actually been planned out. On the inside, this will be tacked to the inside of this hole here, and it will be on the inside, and that will align this and that hole. That way when this goes back, like so, it does not come out. Like if this were, it keeps it from moving around. If that were not there, this is such a thin metal, when it comes back out to reset it and make it flush, it would just come out and start hitting everything. I might Bondo this, I might not. Most of these parts are made with like a chop saw, a drill press, a whatchamacallit, a wire feed, copper feeding wire welder, and bench grinder and Dremel, just cutting tools like that, angle grinder, belt sander to sand this. The inside's not pretty at all, but it doesn't need to be because it won't be shown. Just for reference, this is the exact size. This is just file folder. I just used it as a reference. That's about how big my grenade launcher will be when it's finished. And this is what it would look like, but with the rail mounts and stuff like that. This won't be one of those stinking pivot things like that just hangs off to the side of the gun and it off the side of that box on the right side and just pivots this entire tube out to the side. This will have a rail mounted along this top part here, or a piece of metal, a piece of hardened steel, will run out to about right there, and then it will have a swivel which will turn and be welded to this steel tube, which this is not steel, this is just for a reference, and then it'll allow it to swing outwards to the side, allowing you to stick the grenade in. Since I know what some of you are probably saying, if I did that, I would have to cut a notch, a rounded notch right there. That way it doesn't bind with that as it's coming out. But yeah, this is my grenade launcher so far. Please rate, comment, and oh, last thing. These are roll pins. These are just spring steel pins that always hold their tension. That will be drilled through that top area up there. It'll be a little lower since I'm shaving some of that off on the bench grinder. This will go through that right there, while this is in here. So I will drill a hole lining these two things up right there. Mounting that in there, allowing that to pivot, and since that's mounted on that screw through that hole, it will in turn let it pivot and come out like this other model. This is Killing Spree 01. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. I think that will be all. Thank you.